pull back and not kill the shuttle. It does have 1 kill on it, so it was able to kill off that shuttle. Observer is going to see the mines being put down and going to be able to deter. Oh my gosh, people in my hall are really annoying. At the very least, Stork has secured his 3rd base, so he has 3 bases up and running to Fantasy's 2, and now Fantasy, now he's pretty much even things up, I guess, because as a Terran player, like I always say, you can be 1 base behind the Protest player and be okay. 4 factories, 5 factories actually, out for Fantasy, so he's gonna go for big mech push. That Cybernetics core was spinning, so usually I say it's going to be armor for air, but last time Stork went for carriers, and guess what? He didn't win, and if he goes for carriers again, he's probably not going to win, although this map is a little bit better for carriers. It looks like a timing push coming in for Fantasy. He's just building off of all these factories, going for this great timing push right when Stork is kind of transitioning into his air tech. Here comes the shuttle, sieging up his forces. He needs to take care of that Reaver, though. That Reaver is going to come in huge, because the Reaver can pretty much one-shot those vultures there. Able to pick off 2 vultures as well as a marine, trying to get up this ramp. This ramp is going to be what really makes or breaks Fantasy's attack. If he's able to get up this ramp with those siege tanks and with his mech units, then he's definitely going to be able to win this game. But if not, then he's going to be a little bit of a disadvantageous position. There are Dragoons, there are Reavers, but honestly, Stork does not have the forces to push down this ramp, unfortunately. And able to pick off 3 or 4 vultures just with that 1 scarab and those mines, doing a very, very nice job. Meanwhile, Stork is pulling his probes to that north base. And I'm sorry if the video just skipped right there, but actually some people came in my room, and I usually wouldn't have stopped. I usually would have kept going, keep the commentator flow, but they are pretty cute chicks, so I had to stop. And now I have to get back into gear. Took a little break. It's been like 20 minutes since the time that the video cut out, but we're getting back into it. Observer seeing those siege tanks unsieged, but at this point I don't really think it's gonna matter. This timing push just absolutely just destructive from Fantasy. He's doing so much damage. Here's the last ditch effort from Stork. Is gonna be able to get in? That Reaver's gonna come in huge, but no, unable to do so, and this expansion from Stork is gonna go down, unfortunately for him. More units streaming in for Fantasy, and Fantasy might take a 2-0 lead in this matchup. Is he gonna be able to do so? What the heck did that Scarab just do? Oh my gosh, went all the way up, finally killing the SCV there. Missile turrets going up as well to try to deter against 1 observers and 2 speed shuttles that would do stuff like zealot bombs or zealot drops, anything like that. But Stork in a ton of trouble, man. He is just in so much trouble right now. Going to be able to pick off this barracks maybe, but that barracks really isn't doing anything. All it's used for is spotting. SCV and missile turret go down, just slowly pushing back Stork's Dragoon force with these siege tanks, doing an amazing job there. And oh man, something smells good in our hall. What is that? What is that? I'm asking my roommate what that is. I have no idea. It smells like woman in our room for some reason. Yeah, good woman. But going back to the game, I'm sorry I'm so sidetracked right now. And you guys would probably say, why don't you just close your door? Well, I like to be a friendly guy and have my door open in the dorm rooms, even when I'm commentating. And I'm not ashamed of commentaries. I'm really not ashamed of doing commentaries. That's my thing. That's what I love to do. Getting a call, not going to answer that. Not going to be that on a commentation. I'm not going to do that to you guys with commentary, but seriously, Fantasy just keeps prodding, keeps pushing Stork back. Unfortunately, Stork probably is not going to be able to defend against this attack. More people coming in my room, but I'm going to try to keep up with this attack. Here comes Stork trying to push out with his Zealots and Dragoons. Fantasy doing a good defense. Fantasy now in the main, harassing that robotics facility and just doing an absolute amazing job. People looking on very concerned, because if Stork goes down 2-0, it's going to be very hard for him to come back. Not unheard of for players to come back like that, but it's going to be very hard. Nonetheless, this Wraith might be able to pick off that shuttle with the Reaver inside. Reaver just barely gets out in the nick of time, but kills off the shuttle at the very least. Here comes Stork with another attack. SKT1 fans just clapping away, and I think that this might be Stork's last ditch effort, but no, retreats. Wants to stay alive just a little bit longer, but as long as Fantasy does not screw up here, as long as Fantasy does not do anything really dumb, He's going to be able to win and just do an absolute amazing job and go up 2-0 on Stork. Slowly pushing in, getting just siege hits off on those Dragoons. 3 Dragoons just dying needlessly. Has that spotting with the racks as well as that engineering bay. Doing a very nice job of just kind of leapfrogging his siege tanks. GG coming from Stork, and Fantasy is now up 2-0 on the legendary Bird Toss. Actually, I believe he is the something else toss. He's not actually the bird toss. It's like the dinosaur toss. That's what he is. He is the dinosaur toss, and it's one of the girls. That good smell that I was talking about was actually someone who you don't want really to be smelling good. She's not the most awesome person in the world. I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. But we're gonna go on to game 3, guys. Fantasy up 2-0. Lates. Alright, we're having set 3, Stork versus Fantasy, and before I start to clear things up, the OSL is a best of 5, and I knew this all along. For some reason I said best of 7, probably because I've been doing 1, so much Pro League stuff, and 2, because on the uploads there's like Fantasy or something set 7 or something like that, I don't remember, and so I just was like, oh, 7 sets, you know, obviously whoever's uploading this is going to put as many videos as there are sets because they don't want to spoil anything. Not blaming it on them, blaming it on me about being dumb. But right now we have Fantasy up 2-0 on Stork. And so if he wins this, he's going to go 3-0 and win the entire thing. That is going to be absolutely crazy. This is on Pathfinder, as I said. Spawning at the left-hand-ish side, we have Fantasy as the peach-colored Scream. Just kidding, the peach-colored Terran. And at the right-hand side, we have the blue Protoss. Such Stork-like Stork. And Pathfinder, very, very goofy map. As you can see, very close air positions. It's an alright map for carriers, really not the best. Really, I'd never like carriers, but if you're going to use carriers, it probably would be on this map. No cheese going out for either player. And Stork must be crapping his pants, and Fantasy must be crapping his pants too, just because Fantasy and Stork faced off, obviously, in 2008, and spoiler alert, 3 years, I guess now it would be, but Stork won that, and so if Fantasy wins, he's going to kind of not be the new King of Silver, because the new King of Silver is going to be whoever loses this matchup. And that's going to really suck to be known as the new King of Silver. Anyways, we have a simulator as well as the core going down, I believe, for Stork. And if there wasn't that Korean there, I could tell you what Fantasy was doing. Fantasy's going for that racks at the front. He does have his refinery already, and he has 3 SCVs on gas, which is going to be very good for him. He looks like he's doing a little bit of a wall off at his front with that barracks as well. I think that SCV is actually going to scout in the wrong direction. It seems like on Pathfinder, they always spawn at those 2 locations, and for some weird reason, they always don't scout those 2 locations first. They scout the other bases first, but it seems like they always spawn at the bottom left and the bottom right. Cybernetics core now is done. I'm assuming that it's going to be spinning in the near future, unless Stork is going to go for something crazy, but no, there's the spinning of the core, actually blocking off his ramp, so doesn't want Fantasy to get in there at all. 2 Marines at the front for Fantasy, trying to get his SCV in here, not going to work. That SCV is going to have to go hightail it out of here. Here comes a probe. Let's see if he's able to get in. No. Both players doing a very, very nice job of denying the scout. Factory going up for Fantasy. Probably going to go for... it's hard to say on this map. Usually you would say siege tanks and a machine shop, but might go for some quick vultures, try to do some harassment. But since he hasn't seen what's in there, I'm assuming he's going to go for some tanks. We see a starport immediately after that factory, so we could see some early Wraith play from Fantasy, which would be very, very interesting. And meanwhile, Stork just going a little for some Dragoons and just getting his range up, doing the normal Protoss thing. And that is... that looked like Yellow's kid, and didn't really look like Yellow, but I'm just going to say that was Yellow actually really didn't look like him from the side, but I'm going to say that's yellow anyways, because that was actually his kid. Here comes the probe, the SCV kind of passing each other saying, "What's up?" There's some SKT1 fans, or people who sat in the SKT1 section, or the fantasy section, at the very least. Fantasy is blue, fantasy is red in this on the side thing, and Stork is blue. Course still spinning, so I'm assuming that range upgrade is going to be done very, very soon. It looks like we have a 1 gate into expansion build for my man Stork, and Fantasy might try to put on some early pressure here, moving that barracks. Probably going to pick up an expansion of his own. This probe might see this. He's moving out with a tank, as well as about 4 or 5 Marines. Does not see that expansion is going up. Saw the SCV. Fantasy is going to push in here. Sends in the SCV. SCV does possibly get picked off. Range is probably now upgraded. We see the control tower on top of that starport. Not really on top, on the side of that starport. The robotics facility going down for Stork. So he's going to get some shuttles in the near future with Reavers. Might possibly go for Observatory first, since he has seen this Vulture, though. Doesn't want to get killed off by mines or anything like that. That SCV still has not made that command center. Don't exactly know what Fantasy is planning, but whatever he is planning, it's going to be epic. And Fantasy, Fantasy plays very, very well in these finals, taking both finals to 5 sets when he played Stork and when he played Jadong. And if he wins here, he's just going to kind of go out of character, so maybe he's just going to intentionally lose the next 2 matches, the next 2 matches, and put in a draw. But it looks like no, he just want to win. He just wants to win 3-0, and Stork's gonna have to back up here, deal with these vultures in his base. Meanwhile, Fantasy probably should move in, but he might be just elevating his forces. I can't talk today like I couldn't talk yesterday. It's okay. Putting his siege tank and Marines down. 1 mine goes off. The tank is still alive. Stork in a ton of trouble, and Fantasy might be able to win this out. Stork reinforcing with more Dragoons. I think he's going to be able to clean this up. This dropship's going to have to hightail it out of there, but just relentless assault by Fantasy, planting down a mine and attacking the natural now, and he might be sending his forces to the natural, which he is. Siege Tech, I believe, is not yet up, but still doing so much damage, harassing just at every point, not transferring his SCVs. Little bit of mismicro there, kind of focusing on the front of Stork's base instead of transferring those SCVs. Finally, those NCVs get transferred. The probes are pretty much all mining at the main now, not mining at the natural, and oh my gosh, Fantasy might pull this out. Fantasy might be able to 3-0 Stork, which would be absolutely ridiculous. I cannot imagine. I didn't even imagine Stork getting 3-0'd, but that would be absolutely crazy. Got to scratch my ear, so I'm going to move my mic. Sorry, I know that's probably really annoying to hear all the but anyways, Machine Shop's still spinning. 2 more factories going down for Fantasy. And that was just a really, really good attack. I mean, he just put on so much pressure, attacked at 2 different fronts, which is what you want to do. Stork now splitting up his forces, doesn't want any more dropships to come in. Those vultures just doing a little bit of scouting. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the FPS issues are with this video. Sorry about that. It's going to be really interesting to see how Stork kind of reacts to this, if he goes for a counter, if he just keeps trying to turtle up. Only 1 machine shop on those factories, so he's probably going to go for Vulture Siege Tank, in my opinion. Maybe some more dropships. That would probably be cool if he had 1 dropship at each base, 1 at the natural, 1 at the main. But, I mean, other than that, Fantasy really can just kind of contain Stork and pick up another base, and then he'll be at just an amazing position. Siege Tech now is ready. He's going to be sieging this observatory, which is going to be really bad for Stork. Stork needs to do something to kind of react to this, or at least build an observatory at his natural, because this observatory is KO'd. It looks like he's building some more gateways at the very least. Vultures inside his base as well, just doing a little bit of harassment, being really annoying more than anything, able to pick off 1 probe and sending down a mine, but really not going to be able to do too much damage. Might be an SCV at the top right, or a Vulture, possibly. Might be going for a hidden expansion, but honestly I think if he was going to go for expansion, he would probably go for that top left expansion. Observer almost getting picked off, not quite there. The observatory is rebuilt. He's going for a citadel as well. Going to get that zealot speed for these siege tanks. And probably for his Templar archives as well, so he can do stuff like storms. That pylon is just doomed to die, unfortunately. And Stork might be coming in for a counterattack. This really isn't going to work, but at the same time, Fantasy needs to siege up those siege tanks, man. Needs to make sure those siege tanks are sieged. Finally does so. Putting the engineering bay down there, I don't think that makes a complete block, but it's definitely going to close off that choke at the very least there. Zealot taking a hit from one of those mines. Pretty good micro, though, altogether by Stork. It looks like Fantasy is going to persist with this drop tech. Templar archives now morphing in, and these pylons are going to be dead. These dragoons might be able to get hits off on these siege tanks. Probably not, unfortunately. This probe is going to get taken out by Fantasy, and no, that was not an SUV, that was not a vulture, it was a mine at that position, just so he could see whenever Stork was moving out. And Fantasy taking a very, very commanding lead in this game with this dropship. Needs to make sure it doesn't get picked off, though. Oh, man, this dropship. Where did the dropship go? Oh, he's going to siege at the back of the base. Good probe pull by Stork, but he's just getting whittled down, unfortunately. I mean, he's doing a very, very nice job of defense, but he needs to do something different. He needs to go out and attack, or get a shuttle of his own, do something like a storm drop. But he needs to do something. He honestly needs to just do a little bit better of job of kind of keeping Fantasy at bay. Right now he's just defending, and you can't really play like that. Eventually Fantasy is going to get ahead. And gosh, this thing is making my ear so itchy. Sorry about that. I know it makes that weird goofy sound that you guys all hate. Hopefully I'll get a new mic pretty soon. This one has okay quality, but I'm probably going to get a new headset in the near future. Blocking off actually that top route with gateways and a pylon. Here comes the Dragoon Force. Oh, and he might be able to pick off the dropship. That's going to be absolutely terrible for Fantasy, and barely able to set down those tanks and saving his dropship as well. Nice micro by Fantasy, man. Fantasy's playing on top of his game. Meanwhile, it looks like Fantasy is expanding as well and just sieging. Oh my god, attacking at so many fronts. The Dragoons are just not as mobile as they need to be. There is a shuttle there, but unfortunately this is just absolutely terrible. Forge is spinning. He does have the Arbiter Tribunal as well as the Stargate, which I like a lot better than Carriers, but at this point in the game he's just so far behind now. Hopefully Fantasy picks up and leaves and hightails it out of there before he loses these two tanks. That tank has 15 kills! That's absolutely ridiculous, and these vultures being so annoying behind the mineral line. One of the dropships does get picked off, though. Nice job by Stork there. And now we see more factories going up for Fantasy. Fantasy just being so freakishly annoying. You know, even just putting that mine there is just really annoying because because Stork's not going to be able to expand. Fantasy now at 3 bases, 2 Storks 2. And this is just looking more grim and more grim for Stork. They're pretty even in terms of food, both around 100 food. But the income for Fantasy is just going to absolutely skyrocket. That Forge still spinning. And just massive amounts of factories going up. More machine shops going up. It looks like he's going to persist on this Vulture play. Probably go for Tank Force as well. And just keep doing what he's doing. I mean, why stop doing what you're doing if it's working? Stork not looking too happy at the least. He might try to take out this base here. There are siege tanks at the south. When he moves in, he's going to be absolutely shelled and not even able to pick off one SCV or anything. But Stork is attacking at the front of Fantasy's base as well, bringing his Dragoon Force, but there's tanks there as well, and it looks like this might possibly be it, because this force is going to be absolutely cleaned up by these tanks and vultures, and there's a ton of mines there, but he has an observer, so he's going to be okay. If he would have pushed in at the front, that would have been even a worse decision, because there's just so many siege tanks at the front. Fantasy looking so confident, man. He's playing so well, except he is a crazy mouth breather. Always has his mouth open like that. But he's also taking a base at the 6 o'clock position. Finally, Stork taking a base. Ooh, Stork actually taking 2 bases, expanding at the 3 o'clock as well as the 2 o'clock position. Looks like maybe a shuttle or vultures or whatever is at the top might be able to scout this, but no. Yes, they do scout that. So whatever's at the top does scout that. Really going zealot heavy is Stork. He does have an Arbiter out, which is going to help him a lot. And he's doing exactly what Fantasy was doing, is just attacking at multiple fronts. At this point in the game, though, I don't know if it's going to be that effective. It looks like Fantasy is coming in here for a drop and just kind of elevating his forces up. Sieging at a little bit of the wrong moment. It's going to get Zealot bombed, unfortunately. That's going to be not that great for him. Unsieging his tanks. Doing a good job there. But honestly, I think that Fantasy would be very, very smart to elevate more of his forces up there. Here comes a lot of Zealots for Stork. More vultures coming in at the front. Just a huge stream of vultures coming in at that front, just being super annoying. If he's able to take down this starport, that's going to be absolutely huge. Looks like the starport will go down before the Arbiter comes out. Unfortunately, will it go down? 35 health. These tanks cannot hit it. It looks like it's going to stay up, actually. The Stargate is going to stay up, able to get out that Arbiter probably, which is good for Stork, not good for Fantasy. Fantasy at the same time is definitely okay, though, in terms of where he is in this game. Just harassing this top base with those vultures, just being super, super annoying. And Fantasy just dropping off more vultures, able to take down the starport with just those vultures. One cannon in the base, probably going to be destroyed very, very soon. Stork is meanwhile counterattacking at this point, trying to push in here. Might be able to take down this stuff, though. Where is all of Fantasy's tanks and his units? Stasis going off on the vultures. Vultures in the top right base, though, and it looks like he might just be deterred. Stork pulling back, and that's pretty much going to be it. Oh man, that's terrible. I know I just called it early, but that attack, if he was able to push through that attack, he would have been able to come back in the game. But at this point, Fantasy is just at such a good position. Stork's having to pull all the way back to his top right base, unfortunately, which is not good for him. He's going to be able to save this Nexus, but not the probes or anything else. Oh man, this is absolutely terrible for Stork, and Fantasy just he's going to be able to take out the Arbiter Tribunal, and be so annoying, just absolutely so annoying, and just harassing like crazy, doing the whole Flash thing. Probably take some lessons from Flash, even though they're not on the same team. They probably don't even practice together. But doing very, very good harassments, very, very Flash-like. And he's going to be able to take this game, I believe. Just Dragoons popping like crazy. You can see the blue Dragoon blood. And the SKT1 fans know that defeat is imminent for Stork. Flash. I just called him Flash. Fantasy coming in here. Just absolutely amazing multitasking. Doing just an amazing job of harassment. Here comes a last-ditch defense from Stork, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's trying to move in his Dragoons. Might be able to take out this force, but more forces streaming in for Fantasy. Only 4 Dragoons left. Probably going to be able to clean up this attack. However, Fantasy is at 4 bases. Stork is kind of at 4, not really mining off of all 4. I think that Fantasy would be very, very smart to expand at this point in the game. He has only +1 attack for his upgrades, doing a very poor job with his upgrades. Actually, probably should be at least 2-2, honestly. But if you look at the food count, not even close, not even remotely close. Oh, that's depressing. 147 to 85. Wow, here comes Vultures, Science Vessels alike. Might be able to get off an EMP. Really doesn't need it, though. Dropping in the back of the base as well. And just so many units, man. So many units. Fantasy is going to be on the brink of tears pretty soon. He knows that he's going to win. Stork taking his hand off the keyboard. And GG's. Stork GG's. Fantasy, the new OSL champion. And I'm really happy for him. You know, I believe he has 2 silvers. Finally getting the gold. Finally, after trying so hard, gets the golden mouse and winning the OSL. Bacchus OSL 2010-2011. There's Bunky in the back. There's the on-GameNet Star League trophy right there. Winning it 3-0. And wow, that is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know what I'm going to do for a spoiler. I might just remake the same video twice, and I'm expecting that Stork's not very happy with his performance at all. But Fantasy, honestly, playing on top of his game. If you've watched the Pro League or the Winners League at all, playing absolutely crazy, absolutely out of his mind. very, very well. And that's just good to see. Now kissing the trophy as all the pro gamers do. Confetti in the air, just trying to make this video just a little bit longer. So I can just put a part 3 and call it good. Because I don't really want to make like 4 videos that are anti-spoiler videos. That would be not the best. But Fantasy actually not as happy as I thought he would be, to be honest. I thought he would be a lot happier. I bet he is happy. He's just super shocked that he was able to pull out a 3-0 victory or something like that. I wonder if Stork is still in the booth. That'd be kind of awkward. But yeah, Stork getting getting absolutely swarmed by fans. People leaving. It looks like it's not as crowded nearly as it was at the beginning. And so the video ended, and that's gonna be it. Nice, good old OSL. Wish it would have been better. It's kind of really lopsided. Obviously, 3-0. Anytime it's 3-0, it's gonna be lopsided. But I'm glad Fantasy won. To be honest, 1, he plays for SK21, and 2, he needed it. You know, he wanted revenge from that 2008 matchup, and he got it. So that's it for me, guys. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe if you guys like this commentary. If not, then obviously don't bother to do so. But please do that. More videos coming in the future. More Brood War, more StarCraft 2, more VODs, more reviews, stuff like that. Anyways, I'm out of here.